Hello Indie Game fan, the Steam Next Festival is live with almost 1000 games participating, so here are the top selections beginning with SENTRY, a defense-focused first-person shooter that was one of the centerpieces of my summer showcase, in which you are defending your spaceship against alien incursions. In contrast to other first-person shooters, in which you battle your way through a facility, this is set on board a massive spaceship, which you will become intimately familiar with since you are protecting the ship's core and preventing it from being destroyed by killing off the invaders. You have a variety of turrets and traps to help, as well as tools that you can use to weld a door shut, for example, and has both single-player and co-op modes, but seems like it would be better with a friend. I've had my eye on this game since Anomaly Agent looks pretty slick, being a cyberpunk action platformer with some good looking combat. The pixel art without character outlines isn't my favourite look, but the smooth action more than makes up for it, in which you play as the titular agent having to stop anomalies from plunging the world into chaos. It does stop short of calling itself a Metroidvania, so it should be a linear title, but with a time-bending story, could have a compelling narrative. This video is brought to you by Galactic Glitch Infinity's Edge, an arena action roguelite title but with physics, having fast-paced action and satisfying combat. In classic space shooters, think asteroids for example, projectiles move in a straight line and then go off the screen if they miss, but in this case, the play area is bounded by an elastic bubble, and you do have access to a gravity gun-like weapon and are able to do things like grab massive rocks, chuck them into the bubble, and then watch them slingshot back to destroy your enemies. You can also rip out enemy cores or to grab their missiles and throw it back, not to mention a variety of deadly weapons of your own. They are a long-time supporter of this channel, so please do me a favour and wishlist their game on Steam. For the best picks, it will largely be games that I've covered before, but do look out for more coverage on the festival with never-before-seen titles later on, where one game which I've not talked about in the past is Microcivilization, an incremental clicker strategy game in which you make your way through history, leading your civilization and making critical choices along the way. Yes, at its heart, it is a clicker title in which you click and watch numbers go up, but with multiple historical ages that you can go through, kind of like Age of Empires, does seem to have plenty of meat on the bone. Additionally, you do have to research various technologies and even recruit and collect heroes, so there are layers upon layers of systems in this. Furthermore, there are also morality choices that you have to make between good and evil, and of course it has gorgeous pixel art which I'm a big fan of, and there's a gap in the market for this kind of game since everyone pivoted to making Vampire Survivors clones and should be out soon as well. The mischievous Turnip is back in Turnip Boy Robs a Bank, the sequel to Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion, and while similar in that it's a top-down action-adventure game, it is centered around a heist as our protagonist works together with the Pickled Gang. It's the same sort of weird and zany world that looks kind of insane, with quirky characters and ridiculous situations that our characters will be put in which the writing will make or break this game, since that, in my opinion, is the point of this title. However, as they did in a free update to their earlier game, part of this new title will have roguelite elements, which I presume will be procedurally generated dungeons, but given the pedigree, should still be of interest. It's been a while since we last took a look at Sandwalkers, a roguelike pixel art RPG that is the follow-up to Legend of Keepers, sporting a similar kind of turn-based combat interface, but this time you're back in the shoes of the good guys and are not confined to a dingy dungeon. Rather, the Sandwalkers need to traverse across the hostile environment, seeking out a way to resurrect the Mother Tree, and looks like another fantastic entry. This next title is quite the curiosity, since Duelists of Eden is a spin-off of the roguelite Mega Man Battle Network-like One Step from Eden, featuring returning characters from that game but is a PvP title instead. Sure, there's a single-player mode in which you play against CPU-controlled opponents, but competitive PvP seems to be where it's at, with the developer even having rolled back netcode, so you know he's serious about this. Competitive Mega Man Battle Network is a thing, which this game is looking to edge into that territory, so it might be of interest to fighting game fans. The gorgeous Europa has been on my watchlist for quite a while, since this Studio Ghibli-like exploration title looks absolutely wonderful and beautiful. Set on the terraformed moon of Europa, play as an android seeking answers as they make their way across the landscape by running, jumping, gliding, and flying through the world. It is somewhat melancholy, since you will encounter the ruins of a fallen utopia and unearth the story of the last human alive, so perhaps something has gone wrong, but the exploration looks so freeing, and I'm curious to see how they make a non-combat game interesting. One of my most anticipated titles of the year is this bullet hell Metroidvania from the developer of Rabi Ribi named Heavy, with perhaps less embarrassing character designs in which you play as a bunny girl fighting your way through the world. As of the time of recording, there still isn't that much available information on the story and your character's objectives, but what they do have is Metroidvania progression and bullet hell combat. This is similar to the first game but looks so much better and will be releasing at the end of November, so this demo is probably quite representative of the final product. One of the most exciting titles, if you love games like Factorio, is Foundry, one that follows a long lineage of such games and seems to be very similar to Satisfactory. You know the drill by now. This is an automation game through and through, in which you're initially doing things by hand, mining rocks and crafting items, but quickly gain the ability to automate these and have to build an efficient factory in order to progress further. Impressively, this allows you to build all over the world, whether it be on a mountain or deep in caverns, also having multiplayer support for up to 4 players. Sure, it's not reinventing the wheel, but it looks good and people do love this kind of game, so I can understand why it's being made, and it did get the attention of Paradox while publishing the game as well. Just a quick one here, since I've talked about the pixel art Metroidvania The Last Faith multiple times over the past few days, so check out the demo, where I told the developers on Twitter to make their game good, so fingers crossed it is, so try out the demo and look forward to November with more pics from the Steam Next Festival in this video.